Hello and welcome back to Common Sense for Relationships. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon.
Wherever you are,
just
take the good.
Yes, and Happy New Month, by the way. This is the first one we have.
First.
So Happy New Month, yes. Welcome to the month of March, and we hope it will be a fantastic month for you. And our encouragement and our charge to you is march on.
March forward.
I mean, the way this year is flying,
It's just marching.
Yes. It seems as if you're not deliberate, if you're not intentional, before you know it, we'll be in December shouting Happy New Year. So yes, we have to push. So thank you for joining us, Debbie. I see you, Debbie. In fact, by default, right now, I am using whatever authority I have.
The power vested on you.
Yes, that you are the first winner of our giveaway today.
Today's giveaway.
Yes.
You have got it.
Yes.
Receive it. Take it.
And it's a mug. Yes, you say it, sir.
It's a husband material pattern mug. At the rate you are going, you will soon win everything husband material. And then when the husband, so all that will be remaining is the husband will just come and wear the material. That's all.
Interesting. Yes, so we encourage everyone who is on, please share as you join, share and tell us where you're joining from. Debbie, I believe you're in Lagos, so please feel free to just type Lagos in there, let's know. And anyone else who comes on, please share on Facebook, share on every platform that you can share on. Thank you. Share to people on your WhatsApp.
Like I usually say, share to your friends, share to your enemies. Because share to everyone. Yes, share to everyone that is shareable. But before we wanted to say something. But I just wanted to say the way you are fine more than me in this set today is. I used to think I was fine, but the way you are
I'll
fine.
take it as a compliment. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
If you insist. It's okay.
Okay. All right. So today we have a very interesting topic, and this is, we started talking about this, putting out some info online to say this is what we're talking about, and we got some interesting responses. So yes, this is one table we want to shake, and for obvious reasons, we've had plenty of people say whenever we're discussing this issue of marriage, and especially amongst guys, and you start to ask questions around what's keeping you, what's the reason why you aren't, especially for people who say they want to get married. Why aren't you married? And one thing that comes up all the time is money. Money.
They ask the bros, why are you not married? Money.
Money. So
when are you going to get married? When money.
Will you get married if money?
Money.
So money is really critical, and so today our topic is love and money. Can love survive without money? That's one of the things we're going to talk about. Okay, so let's see this.
That was what somebody dropped.
Somebody said, let's see, no romance without finance.
Bam. So when we ask the question, can love survive without money? Some of the comments that we got, somebody said, no romance without finance. When I asked, maybe we should put a hashtag on it, the person just went scriptural on me immediately. So even Rebecca received gifts.
Before she said yes.
So that is, you can see that. So I didn't even need to talk plenty. It was there. So is that a general point of view or a viewpoint for the generality? Okay. All right, it's your show. Me, I just came.
Okay, all right. So let's see. Thank you so much, Debbie. She says, I'm a queen. Wow. Debbie says, beauty. I'm feeling good today. Thank you so much.
Yeah, because you are cool. Yeah.
Thank you.
It's the coolness for me.
Yes. So this thing is very important, and we need to get to the bottom of it. So later on, we'll look at 3 case studies. You saw the case studies?
I think if you show me, I will see.
Okay. I sent it to the group.
Ah,
Yes.
okay.
3 case studies. We'll try to decipher which one, in which case should they get married, and in which case shouldn't they get married. Because sometimes people say, oh, it depends. So we try to come up with 3 scenarios and say, okay, in which scenario would you say they can go ahead and get married? Now, let's start from the beginning. Foundation, very important. Foundation.
Which foundation is it? Who dug it?
The one for the discussion.
Okay.
Very important, right?
Okay.
And we're trying to find out what is money.
That foundation has already been laid. It's the foundation is laid. That foundation doesn't. Maybe what will help us define is the other one. Maybe we don't. There's nobody that doesn't understand this particular foundation.
This one of money.
It has been laid, so we can move
Okay,
on.
what about why do we need money?
Even that one, they built house on top.
So okay. Wait. Is it possible for somebody to fall in love in the absence of money? Yeah.
It's now you come, because I was going to say that the one that needed definition maybe is the love. But the money is well defined to all of us. Young, rich, old, even the dead.
So the context of this discussion actually, right, is as it concerns relationships, leading up to the point where you decide to get married to someone, and then after you have gotten married, right? Can you have love if there's no money? So it's I think we should start from the pre-marriage point of view, the pre-marriage side of the story. When you meet somebody, the guy is all that you hope for, desire, and so on, and then you now find out that this guy has potential. He's very intelligent, or maybe he even showed you his certificates. He graduated top of his class. Everything is like sharp, but for some reason he just hasn't gotten a job. Will you go out with that kind of person? And if you go out with that kind of person and you decide, and it gets serious, and the person now decides to ask you to marry them, will you marry somebody who does not have money, even though he has potential, even though he's correct on all other fronts, but because of the economy and because of many things, the person does not have a means of livelihood?
Babi, I asked the question already. See the answer they gave me. Did you see the answer?
I can see. Of course not.
The answer was very clear. Of course not. That's the end of the conversation. But as far as that person is concerned, so you say, will you marry me without money? No.
Okay, we had an interesting discussion this morning on Revelations. Thanks to everyone who joined us on Revelations.
It was fantastic.
That meeting was really interesting, and of course, my husband came to shake the table.
I'm just a card-carrying member of the Table Shakers Association.
I see.
We will also organize a Table Shakers conference sometime in the. Okay, let me calm down. It's your show.
So one of the panelists made a very simple but very impactful and powerful statement. It says 3 things you must have before you say you're getting married. Man must have
3 things.
You must have what? Number 1, a house.
You must have a house.
Number 2, a job. No, that's what
you must have a job, something to do.
You must have a job. You must have a house.
Number 2.
And then you must have a bed.
That's the most important one for me. You say the guy must have the bed. So maybe you can start from down. Or from up, anywhere you start from. Either you check that he has work, and then you check whether he has a bed. So if the guy says, "Oh, let us do something," you say, "Bros, do you have bed?" Before you even check whether he's
my goodness. Wait. When you say that, some people will think you're being carnal now. How can you be asking somebody if he has a bed? You just read meaning into it.
Okay, ask me if he has pillow.
This is so funny. But really, 3 important things. A job, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a job as in you're working for someone. It could be that you have something that you're doing that brings money, right? Okay. And then you have a house. It doesn't have to be your house, as in you have built one or you have bought one, but at least you have rented one. In other words, you're not living in somebody's house. You know, you're not still living in your parents' house. And if you are living in your parents' house, then you have to at least be able to show that you're living there by choice, not that, well, choice can be anything. You're living there not because you couldn't afford your own place, but because maybe for some other reason you decided to still stay at home.
So if you are staying in your parents' house, there must be evidence to show the capacity to stay on your own.
Yes, and sometime before the marriage anyway, it's usually advisable that you move out and stay on your own so that you just start to practice a little. Some of those things that your dad has been doing and so on, you get to do them by yourself and know, okay, this is what it is to be a man. You know that they always say to be a man, it's not a day's job.
My brother, my sister.
And some of the demands you will not realize until you actually are on your own, when you have to sort out all the utilities and everything and make sure it's...
You know, when they say to be a man is not a day's job, what they did not tell you is that to be a man, they only tell you the job for the day. They don't tell you the other jobs that you do. So that's why they say it's not a day's job. So sufficient. So for each day, you know the job, but by the next day, the job has changed, and you have to adapt.
Really interesting. So yes, it's important. It's important. You know, I asked, why do we need money? And just in case you don't know, wait. Everybody knows, yes, you need money to meet your needs and so on and so forth, you know, but there's more coming later on. When it's just two of you, you're most likely thinking of, food, shelter, you know, clothing, be able to take her out, do this and that. Yes, those are fantastic, right? But, you know, there's more. And there's the part of gifts. Because some people, if by mistake their love language is receiving gifts, that's an extra need for money, you know. Even though, of course, you can look for ways to accomplish that without it costing you so much. But yes, it's just another thing you have to factor in. So there are things that you need money for, definitely. So now the case is, I'll read the first case study, right? And let's see where this takes us. So case study 1, yes, is here, right here. I'm about to read it from your screen.
Okay.
Case study 1 says, he just got his first job. She's a school teacher. They are in love and want to spend the rest of their lives together. Should they get married? It's his first job, right? At least he has a job.
It's his first job. Okay.
She's a school teacher. They're in love. Should they get married?
Some of us, we want to ask. It depends on what the job is.
Oh, really? But let me see. Does anybody? We have a few people online. Does anybody want to address that? The guy has his first job. It's the very first job, the first he has ever had, right? She has a job. She's a school teacher. They are in love and want to spend the rest of their lives together. Should they get married?
It's his first job.
What's the issue with first job?
I'm just asking. I think it depends on what the job is.
Is there any concern? Well, maybe what if his first job is as a cashier in a bank, or what if it's
when you say cashier, people think he's teller.
Okay. What if his first job is as an admin officer in some office? It's a job.
It's a job.
Yeah. So Timothy says he has a job. He said, "I've been a megad."
Yes,
maybe how much they are paying.
Maybe megad. But really, when we ask that question, when that question you ask, can love survive without money? I really want us to hit that question on the head.
Okay.
So now you say this case, he has a job, he's cashier or teller. somebody say, or even if it is Megad, Deborah said, cashier.
The way you're even calling it.
Cashier. Oh, should I say cashier? Is that not
You're making it sound very crude.
It's cashier. Teller. Yes.
So,
but this first job you have say, in fact, me, I'm the one that even said cashier. Somebody said maybe it's Megad. Adepoju said the first job could mean he has no savings. So when we are talking about that his job, somebody is talking about his fear, his fast, that he has no savings. So it means that with his job now, he's coming to say, let's do something.
Well, you see, I think this. See, me, I'm just going to tell you what I feel, personally speaking. Okay,
that's your opinion.
My personal opinion.
Her opinion.
Yes, or maybe you'd say what I would do if it were me.
If it were her.
Yes, I will check a number of things. Right, you know, there's a way that somebody has a job, but even the person's lifestyle, the person looks like they are not serious about their future. They are not intentional and so on, right? So having a first job, yeah, it's a good sign. It's a good sign, and you could choose to go with that. But what I really look at, me personally, what I look at when we come to this discussion is how much do I have?
I said, how much do you have as you, she?
Yes.
You, she. Okay.
How much do I have? That's the main thing for me, right? And then how much does he have? Because I am looking at, if I am left alone on this journey, am I okay? So and why is it important? I think it's worth mentioning because a lot of times we are quick to look at the other person and we ignore our own position in this matter.
Excuse me, ma'am. Excuse me. Please, the people that, all of you that are online, do me a favor. As she's talking her mind, please be typing your own mind on the comment section. So as she's talking her mind, be typing your mind on the comment section because I need us to sort this issue. Because if I check now, you are speaking your own mind. It's as if the people that are like you, I don't know if there are still many.
We'll check. We'll find out if they're still there.
Okay, so finish talking your mind.
I'll be looking at myself to see what do I have, how much do I have, and I'll be looking at after I have looked at myself, then I'll look at the other person. What does that person have? You know, can we make this work, the two of us? And we will now start looking at where will we live. Honestly, how much money is subjective. The amount of money you have in Uyo or that you have in Ekiti may be fantastic, right? May be more than enough. But when you bring it to a place like Lagos, it may become absolutely insufficient. So you need to actually factor in a number of things. It's not just how much do you have in the bank. How much are you earning now? What's the potential for growth of that income? And where do you plan to live? Debbie has something to say.
But before we look at what Debbie has to say, the question that I want to ask, I want them to help us settle certain matters.
Yes.
Can love survive without money? Speak from your own position. Married, single, separated, alone, or together. Can love
survive without money?
Let me even change it. Can your love, your person, so let's personalize the love. Can your personal love survive without money? Now, if your answer is yes or no, it would be good to type it in the chat, right? And say, yes, my love can survive without money. No. Like that person that sent me that message, the person said, no. In fact, the person said, of course not. So that person is very clear. So that first question we have passed. Now, the second question that I want to ask, if your answer is no, of course not, please, how much money does your love require to survive? How much money does your love require to survive? Ngwanu, let's look at what they have to say.
Okay, Debbie says he should have multiple streams of income, and the lady too as well. And they should both read husband material.
They should both read husband material book.
Thank you very much.
I clap for you, Deborah. True. Both of them should read husband material book so that they can get sense, the common sense, and they can apply it.
It's really but let's see, what you say is really important. Multiple streams of income. And that's a good place to talk about the fact that you shouldn't be limited by a job. Because some people have this idea of, I don't have a job. Especially when you see people who have graduated from school. I mean, you did 4 years or 5 years in university or in a polytechnic. You have a degree, and you come out and you say you don't have a job. And because of that, you just more like give up, or you just think it's over. There's no hope for me. This thing called marriage, maybe I'll never get there because I don't have a job. Don't limit yourself to a job, because you can find something that you can do. There's a product, some product you can come up with. There's some service you can give, even if you want to start with something as small as washing cars.
Baby, you are giving advice to
people who don't need it.
You are giving advice to people that don't need it. Okay. There are some people that say...
Okay, so I'll wrap up my advice to say don't limit yourself with a job.
So, great.
With the lack of a job. Yes. Don't label yourself unable to settle down just because you don't have a job. You can have multiple streams of income.
If you see, this thing itself has grade. In fact, I want to take it from Grace. Grace said, we have different types of brokenness. And it has grades. So it depends on the grade. So my love can survive. So it depends on the grade. So what if the guy has multiple streams of income, and the multiple streams, one is Megad, the other one is cleaner, the other one is gate man, the other one is washing car. It's multiple streams. Do you understand? But that multiple stream, it does not reach one river.
Oh my goodness.
So whether it's multiple stream or single stream, the fundamental question is
how much is enough?
Can your love how much is enough for your own love to survive? So that's the question that I want to type there. Somebody should help me type it there. How much is enough for your own love to survive?
So from the direction of this discussion, if you want to follow how it is going, it seems that everybody agrees that you need love. You need money. In love.
Yes, you need money in love. Yes, it's true.
It's just the degree.
It's the degree of the money that is now. So we are saying, remember that first person that sent us message? First person said, #no romance without finance. Hashtag no romance without finance. So if that's the case, it means that for romance to happen, there must be a certain level of finance. So what we are trying to deal with now is what's the grade.
Okay, so while we talk about the grade, and you guys continue to share some of your thoughts, right? When you come to, let's say you just meet somebody somewhere, you have a nice conversation, you talk, you feel like, hey, this is going well, you're vibing, as you guys like to say, you're vibing with the person, it's like you have a lot in common. I like the way this person speaks. This person, tickles my fancy and so on. Or whatever terms you use to express those feelings these days. Yes, at that point, there's no money, right? So it's actually possible for you to fall in love with somebody without money.
There's another thing, that thing I've said just now. So it's possible to fall in love without money.
But it's possible to stay in love.
But is it possible to stay in love?
Remain in love.
To remain in love without money.
Yes, so that's the question.
So the questions are coming up now. So what she just said now, it's possible to fall in love without money.
Yeah.
Is it possible to remain?
So
there's something Lulu says there before you say what you understand. Lulu says, if no, what happens if you are married with all the money on ground and suddenly there's bankruptcy or the money vanishes like Yahoo for one reason or the other? Will the person leave the marriage? No, help me. No, please. let's give 3 dosa for
Exactly.
Lulu. Because Lulu, that question is very key. It ties to what we are saying now. So if you say you can fall in love without money, but do you need money to remain in love? The Lulu is not asking that question another way.
Yes.
If you fall in love with the money, and then in the middle of the love, the ocean of the love, all of you are swimming together, are loving each other. In the middle of the ocean, the water dry. And both of you are now dry ground, and you have not reached.
See, that's why I say that in this matter, don't just be looking at the other person. You know, for ladies, don't be looking at guys to say the guy must have money, must have money. How about you? You know, because when you get together as a family, right? It's not just one person anymore. You're now a team. And the beauty in teamwork is that when one person is weak, the other one can help them up, right? When one person is down, the other person can lift them. So the same way, when one person runs out of money, the other person can support them, the other person can help them, right? So that's why the idea of me, what does he have, and you're just focusing on that, I feel it's not complete. You need to bring in the idea of what do I have, what do we have together, right? And now, and then by the time you get married, you have to move over from he has, I have, to
we have. So that means if you have and I have, we are already entering the realms of multiple halves.
Yes.
And so that means it's multiple stream. But that presupposes that we must be thinking that it's not my money is my money, and her money and his money is our money. That's another level of problem there. There's somebody that said something on Facebook. Somebody said this on Facebook. Acting, thank you, our Facebook guys. We're seeing you, we're seeing your comments. Acting says, I think they should hold on for a while. They don't need to rush it since the guy is just starting. Yes. They should have some savings before they think of settling down. No, my love cannot survive without money. And you know, on this show, there's no, we keep it real, right? We keep it real. So my love cannot survive.
That's an interesting one.
Yes, so she's saying save. So let's say she has fallen in love without the money. So the common sense she's applying this, I fell in love with you without the money, but
we need to demonstrate something.
We need to demonstrate
before we make any commitment. And that is a valid point. Because really, the reason, you know, I was saying that before, you need to, if you were in your parents' house and you had valid reason and you claim you could afford it, but you were still in your parents' house, you need to demonstrate that you actually have the capacity to house yourself and feed yourself and so on before the wedding. Move out of your parents' house. Live by yourself. Take care of yourself. Be, in quote, the man, you know, and build that muscle, okay? And financially speaking, even though, you know, ladies will say, I love this person, or he's going through a rough patch, please don't marry him. Well, I would not marry him while he's going through the rough patch. Let's balance first.
That baby you are shaking. Okay. Let me be calming down.
My ability to identify potential brought me to the place of falling in love with you.
All right.
That's already a lot of credit.
You fell in love with potential.
Yes.
All right.
That's a lot of credit I'm giving you. But before
I settle down,
we go to the altar and
before you say I do. You must know what you are doing.
Yes, and you have to show that you know what
you are doing.
You have to at least have a stream of income. You need to be able to demonstrate that you can fend for yourself. Because really, ladies, even if you say, oh, I'm nice, I'm kind, I'm humble, I'm sweet, I'm generous, I don't worry about a lot of things, that you live in a society, you live in a community, you live with people, you have friends, sisters, parents. Somebody will come and say, this is your husband. He does not have a job. Especially if you now get married, maybe you have a child, and then one mother or so comes for omugwo, and then you now finish maternity leave and you go to the office, and then the man is still in the house every day. Please tell me the question that particular mother will ask. Especially if it's the mother of the woman. If it's the mother of the guy, she may just act as if it's normal. But if it's the mother of the woman and other people who come and witness that scenario, they'll start saying things. And over time, the woman, whether she plans to or not, may start feeling under pressure to start pushing back. And at that point, the man will be like, maybe like, but you knew this was my situation. Why you married me? Why are you complaining now? You know the person that said you loved me before. What has changed?
What has changed is put her in the matrimonial way. That changes a lot of things. And I agree with something Grace said. Grace says that moving into a family house thing has destroyed plenty marriage. Fending is not loving. Oh, fending is not loving money. Have something. Okay, did you get that? I don't know if I got it right, but she's saying have something.
Yes.
So I think this is encouraging to the guys and to everyone, to say that yes, it's possible to fall in love with that man. And you see this thing that we're talking about, it's not they said, it's a real case of it happened to me. You know that? It happened to me.
Let me do like you did last week. You don't go there yet. Let's finish addressing these things before you start telling.
Okay, let me not tell them what happened to me. Should I tell you what happened to me?
Don't tell them yet.
I shouldn't tell them.
Unless they ask for it.
Okay, let me
so let's see. What did Timora say? Timora says.
Is it Timora?
Yes, let's see. He says.
Deborah Essen.
The English
are finished. Deborah, the English are finished in my mouth. Now back to Oluwa that time, but I believe I can set up structures for myself if I have a source of income that is dicey. This Timora guy just speaking English. Deborah, I hope you know. If you are there.
Interesting.
Because what Deborah asks actually is that Timora, what of if one river is drying up? What will you do?
Yeah. So yes, it's it's interesting, this whole thing we're talking about, and we need to realize, right, that things differ from person to person. So even as we're talking about it now, the lady that I think it was Atim that said very clearly her love cannot survive without money,
and it's really good.
She has specified
she's clear.
She's clear, right?
She's clear.
So this thing, see, when it comes to this matter of relationships, the way we are different, that's how our views and our conclusions and our preferences differ.
I want to say that in the matter, in the matters of the heart, the heart is the matter,
and the heart is different.
Every heart is different.
Yes.
Do you understand? So
it's important.
So it's important you spell it clearly.
Yes.
So that you are not
assuming.
You are not assuming. You are not assuming. When you
also because Mr. A got married without money, then I should be able to do it. What were the conditions surrounding Mr. A's marriage? What kind of understanding did Mr. A have with his wife?
And you are not Mr. A, you are likely Mr. Z, because you may be very far from him. Your stories are not the same.
So you have to actually sit down and analyze and look at the conditions critically and determine, what am I going to do? What are we going to do in a particular situation? You may find somebody, he's perfect, he's all that, and maybe he doesn't have money at that time. And you say, okay, you know what? You could decide, I'm coming before we get to what's making you laugh.
Okay.
You could decide, I'm going to wait for you to have a job and then we get married. Okay. You could also say, I'm going to, I see enough potential in you. I believe in you enough, and where I am financially, I believe we can make this work. And I know that you will sort yourself out as time goes on and you get married. I mean, the thing is, you need to actually sit down and communicate and talk about it. But for someone who knows that she's not going to take this issue of he doesn't have money, then it's good that she knows that and she can go ahead and make her decision based on that conviction. right? And you cannot come and tell her, you're too vain. No, it's her reality. Neither should she mock or laugh at or at someone who decides to go in hoping, right? So each person needs to be convicted about their position. And why do you have to be convicted? Because when you enter, now you go face am. So if you marry somebody because the person has potential and the potential never materializes, it was your decision. It may have looked lofty, it may have looked noble of you to marry somebody because they had potential. But if that potential does not materialize,
disaster will crystallize.
You have to tell yourself, I made this decision. How am I going to deal with this?
Okay, so Bobby, in order to help people out there, there is nothing wrong with falling in love with potential.
Yes,
because
a lot of us fell in love with potential.
Yeah, they fell, and
we were potentialing ourselves as well. Getting near the altar.
Okay, yes. Fell in love with potential. So there's nothing wrong with falling in love with potential, but then you must be clear on what did I fall in love with? Why did I fall in love with him? What am I going to do when the love is not self-sustaining?
How are we going to? There's the part where you say, how are we going to
sustain this love?
Manage our lives in this phase where, according to Timora, in this phase where the streams of income are still dicey.
Where the streams of income are dicey.
How are we going to manage our life?
Yes.
So for instance, you could decide, okay, we're going to start out in a different city, where I do this business, I earn about this much. It will be able to sustain us in that city, and we will be comfortable. You could make some of those decisions, right? Or you could say, okay, we will get married. For now, we can take care of two of us. We'll not start having kids yet until we're settled. And someone will say, do you have control of that? Yes, you have control. There's something called family planning, birth control.
Yes.
Talk to your doctor.
Yes.
So some people say, by the time you get married, children start coming.
You can tell them to wait.
Yes, you can.
You can actually tell the children to wait.
Yes, you can tell them we're coming. Just wait first.
That one is a full topic.
Let's sort
but
this out.
That topic is going to be in the marriage.
Yes.
It's under the marriage section because it's PG rated.
And there are different reasons why you can tell them to wait. Even for you to get to know yourselves well, understand a number of things.
Create a baseline.
Exactly.
Yeah, all of that is in husband material.
Exactly.
So listen to Deborah. She has a point. Go and read husband material. The link is in the comment section below.
Yeah.
Grace says, let's be real. Wallahi. The truth is nothing like my love does not need money. Let's be specific about having money, and you are able to have a life you call comfortable and wanting to live in luxury. Grace, I agree with you. I agree with you. What you have said makes perfect sense, because the truth is, my wife stated it, you can fall in love without money, but if the source of income is still dicey and there's nothing to support it, to give it back up, should it fall on the other side of the dice? When you're playing Ludo, when you play 6-6, you are doing well. But because it is dicey, if the dice throw 1-1, as in, it's like when you're playing Naira bet, when the bet cut. So if the bet cut, there must be backup.
This analogy is making me suspecting now.
Naira bet. All these are guys that work for us that are looking like all of them play Naira bet. So when I say don't be looking at me, it's not me. These guys that work like, they all play Naira bet. Palm 1, palm 2, they will be looking. See, guys are using different things to survive. From crypto to Naira bet, all of them are in the same family. So even crypto is dicey. So if the source of income is dicey and may drop 1-1 instead of 6-6. When you say Siki, when you throw dice, Siki, you don't lose. My goodness, it's like it's only me that went. It's only me that has seen things in this time. Most people that know Siki, so if you throw Siki, if the source of income is still dicey, right? There must be a plan. There must be a discussion. There must be a conversation to say, how do we do this? My wife raised an important point. And at this point, I need to tell them so that we begin to wind down something. This thing happened to us. Case one is like something that happened to us, right? And at the time we were going to get married, Yours truly was, I was the teller. I was that teller in the example. That was me.
When you put it like that, you almost make it sound like that teller job was just one nonsensical.
Yeah, it's not that it's nonsensical job. It's beginner's level now. When you enter bank, it's beginner's level. Teller. Do you understand? And yours truly, she's truly was going to be the teacher. Guess where we were going to be located? Akure Lawa, Ondo State. And in fact, we began to plan and to say, this is my salary.
With our small money.
This is my salary. This is her salary. We are going to find house in Akure. And trust me, if you are staying in Akure, they are not paying this umbrella rent that people are paying in Lagos. They are not paying this umbrella rent that people are paying in Lagos. They are doing well. In a very good place.
Your small money will do a lot.
Your small money will go a long
from
way.
Food to transportation, accommodation.
Yeah. You know, so well, by the time we saw that we were going to be doing accurate things, that was how we decided to plan our life and stay in Akure within our means.
Yes.
So that we know that these guys right now is throwing 1-1. We cannot be planning with the dice that is throwing 6-6. So live within your means.
Cut your coat according to your size or according to the material.
So, according in this case, cut your love according to the amount of money that you have. So let your love be cut, according to the level of the money that you have. So that if maybe the way
you are saying the cut the love, it will look as if you are trying to say people should withhold love. When
no, I'm not saying they should withhold love. I'm saying they should plan it. They should plan their love according to their level.
Thank you. They should plan the love and how it will play out and the conditions. Yes, I completely agree.
Yes. So that's what we did.
So for somebody who is in Lagos, they may decide, okay, I shouldn't be dreaming of living on the island.
Even if I'm going to be in Lekki, there's the Lekki has done something for us. There's Lekki 1. There's Lekki 2. There's Lekki Dia.
So remember that joke? What was it? What skit or something? The guy who came to Lekki. And then was it Nepa Bila?
By the time he saw Nepa Bila,
he didn't even wait for Uber.
He began to run all the way back. He had to run all the way back to mainland. Yeah. So we need to. So if you find that listen, the truth is, let's be real. Let's be real. If we are real to ourselves, we can know, hey, this is the level of life I want. If I can settle for less, then what's the plan? What am I settling for? Let it be clear. Let's not say we entered and my love is blind or my love. No, nothing like that. There's something that. There's something that Helen. Sorry. Ibibom. Yes. He says, just know the extent at what you can swallow, because marriage is a lifetime race. And you are looking at least 50 years with your partner. And Helen, what you have said is fact. The other part is that, hello, if the guy has the right potential that you saw, you just know that he will not always be throwing 1-1. In that 50 years that you guys are planning together, there will be cycles. And he will move from 1-1 to 3-3, then to 6-6. There will be levels of growth. And that's another word that this generation doesn't really like to hear.
Yes.
Growing together. Growing together.
Yeah, because there's nothing wrong in starting small. Sometimes people look at it as if you marry somebody who doesn't have so much money, you're doomed to be poor for the rest of your life. But that's not quite the case. Because you can decide, hey, I know all I know about you. You're sharp, you're smart, you have potential. Me too. You just started, I just started. We can do this together. And with your two good heads, you come together and you decide, this is how we're going to do it. We're going to start here. We're going to build like this. We're going to strategize like this. We're going to invest like this. We're going to, save like this. You start a small business in addition to your job. You start that other one. And together, you will nurture and build and grow. And little by little, you actually come to the point where you are, what's that thing? Rolling, chilling.
Well, you're chilling with the big boys. You're chilling with the big boys. You'll be chilling down. My goodness. Jackson Ogebe said, from the experience, whose experience? He said, the experience. Is it the process? From the experience. Okay. So many women got married and they refused to maintain the zeal and the power of marriage to sustain their marriage. My goodness. So it's the women that refuse. Okay. They have patience to stay put. When she decided to leave the marriage, then God showed up and things became good. The same woman who left want to come back now. Jackson, that experience must have been the woman who left. And from what she's saying, and that's another part of our story, because there was an example that who gave that example? Was it Deborah? Someone said it in the chat, that was okay. Thank you, Jackson, our Facebook people. Someone said it in the chat, and she said, you guys can be rolling with the big boys when you got married, but midstream something goes wrong. Something goes wrong, because remember when we were married? I was working in the bank, and then we were growing together, and then you wake up one day, one early morning like that, and you reach office. And they say, bro, your services are no longer needed. But you people you don't know how difficult it is to call your wife back home that day. To come back home and tell your wife that they said services are no longer needed. See, these are the kind of men don't understand the kind of pressure that men are going through. Because that kind of thing is the kind of thing that you will come back home that day as if nothing has happened. The next day you wear clothes and leave to go to office, even though you have been fired. But because to have the conversation it's easier to keep up the deception than to have the conversation. Do you understand? It's hard. Men are going through stuff. Men are under pressure. If you keep up the deception, then by the time it's time for you to bring out money for one thing or the other, you will still have to have the conversation. But by that time, you would have come up with many different excuses from they did not pay us, the bank is our office is going through a hard time. They are trying to do a murder. You come up with all sorts of reasons, lies included. Do you understand? But really, it's difficult to have those conversations. And I was there, been there, done that, have the T-shirt to prove it. But you see this babe, they're all cool, they're hot chick. She stuck with me. But my point is, if the conversations were not had before the things happened, it would be a lot more difficult. When the things happen, somebody said that's where for better for worse comes in grace. Grace says that's where for better for worse comes in, and that's the truth, because sometimes it won't always be rosy. See, no matter how you plan, there are times we have days, we have about. Yeah. Do you understand? Different levels. And I would like to add something there. Yes. Because somewhere in the Bible, Paul, I think, it was Paul who said, "I know how to." I'm going to read it in an interesting mention. I know how to get along with little, and I also know how to live in prosperity. In any and every circumstance, I have learned the secret of being filled and going hungry, both of having abundance and suffering need. So please, what scripture is that? It's Philippians. For those of Philippians for the Christians on the meeting. Philippians 4:12. That's which translation? That is New American Standard Bible. Yeah. So you see, you actually have to
know that these different times, these seasons will change, right? And if you ever experience a season where you don't have plenty, you should be able to survive it. And part of love bears all things, love endures all things, love perseveres, is that when that person you say you love is going through a difficult time, you stand by them. You help them through it.
Ladies, here,
You help them
the
through
guys,
it.
help the
It's
guys.
really important. So
Help the
now, something else to realize is some people think, oh, the only times when you are low on finances is when you don't have a job or you don't have a stream of income. No, there are other times that you can be low on finances because you are working on a project. Example, you are tired of being a tenant and you want to own a home. But if you want to be saving the small that you are saving, it will take you 10 years or 15 to become a home owner. So you decide, you know what, we are going to save a lot, or maybe we are going to take a loan and buy a house, and then we will live lean while we're paying back that money. Of course, for that period, it will look
like you don't have.
Yes.
So, that's a collective decision. And you see, this thing that we're talking about, as funny as it may be, is that it's conversations are vitally important in relationship. We must have conversations. We must talk about these things before. I always used to say the most important thing you can do with your mouth in a relationship is to talk. It's not to kiss. It's not to kiss. Adenike says something that is interesting me here. Good prospect should also be accompanied by entrepreneur mind, as that can be a propeller in the dicey situation.
Yes.
However, for me, it is advisable that you can take care of yourself before going into marriage. That is very true. That is very true.
Yeah.
Timora had this to say, speaking from a life experience, some guys don't improvise when things turn sour, and they expect their wives to always understand. That's a fact. Thank you. Thank you, Timora. It's a fact and a problem. Let me tell you, in my own case, when things turned sour, I expected my wife to understand. She did for a season. She was understanding for a season. But you see this woman? Yeah. After understanding for a while, she began to stand over, not under. She didn't stand under again. She stood over, and she refused to allow, because there's a way that men will settle when you allow them to just sit down and say, oh, my life, things are hard, my brother. By the time the woman stood up, I was writing CV, I was writing exam, even exam that they say for entry level, I was writing it and I was passing them. But at a point when my master's degree didn't solve any problem. My brother, you see that improvise that Timora talked about? Some of us sold sand with my master's degree, very good master's degree in information technology. I always love that. I carry sand. In order for what? In order to make things happen.
Okay.
So you see, these are real life. So we have to be able to improvise. We have to be able to improvise and improvise. Tomorrow says someone lost a job and is only optimistic on getting another similar job. People shouldn't feel ashamed doing minor jobs to fend for family. Growing together for me is ultimate, and we have said that on the show. Growing together, that's something this generation needs to learn. There's something called growing together. Stop watching celebrity on IG. Stop watching celebrity on IG. That's the place where I want to close today. There's one IG something that pay me. He pay me. One IG something. Let me show you an example. There are men. When a woman genuinely loves you, the only thing she will ever want from you are affection, attention, and emotion. I don't completely agree with that. Right? I don't completely agree with that. But this is the part that pained me, because it was trending this week. once she starts asking for transport fare and financial maintenance, you are no longer in the love zone. It's the transport fare for me. So the thing that was trending this week that I want to ask, because it's still in the region of love and money. You know, the thing I want to ask, babe, if your girlfriend, so this is, I'm asking everybody, but you here, if your girlfriend is coming to your house, should you be the one to give her transport money? One lady on IG said if she's coming to the guy's house, you must give her transport money to go back.
Really?
About who sign up?
Well, I don't know how you people do it these days, but
And how they do it these days?
back in the day,
How they do it these days?
I'm coming to visit you. I pay my way,
Bam.
and I go back.
Bam.
You are coming to visit me.
You pay your way.
So everybody sets themselves out. So all this thing of beginning to ask people for money before you are married to the person it wasn't something we did, and it made things easy. So you were able to relate with the person strictly on who are you, what's your character, and all those things.
What's your content?
You were talking about money. You were talking about money in relation to when you are married or when you are preparing for the marriage. Like, what's your family doing? What's my family doing? What am I bringing? What am I bringing? How much do we have? What's our budget? And so on. So it made things easy. Oh, how come somebody be dragging transport money? It begins to belittle yourself. Transport money. You're more than that now. I beg.
Oh, I don't even care. If I say I love you now, they will say, please, Daddy, I take permission. I love her. He said the visit should be a mutual agreement. Pay your bills and earn some respect.
Exactly. It's about respect. How can you be asking for transfer money and you want to become somebody's wife? Seriously? Somebody will say I'm being too harsh now, but really,
sorry.
You need to be able to pick up your bills. The fact that a guy has come into your life and claims he loves you doesn't mean he should start paying for your hair, paying for your clothes, paying for your undies, paying for everything, giving money to your family and so on. No. Hold your own.
And you have not even said I do, sir.
Because it's not just about the guy. As I said, the two of you should be able to take care of yourselves. And then when you come together, you can synergize and make things better. Please, ladies, let's not allow people to be disrespecting us.
Let's not allow. Say it. Loud it. It's making me feel somehow. Say how you are feeling. You are real here.
It's making me feel somehow now. Transfer money. So I come and visit you. When I finish, when I'm about to go, I'll now say, please, can you give me 2.5? Or maybe I'll do it the issue and say, can you call an Uber for me?
No. Let's 2K.
No. I come and visit you. I finish. I stand up and go. In fact, when I'm coming to visit you, I probably will bring something nice.
Maybe the question
something nice. Maybe that is not expensive.
Maybe it's possible because
I wanted
to ask. Maybe the reason why the girl is needing transport money is because she came to provide a service. You know, like when you say your baba to come and cut your hair.
Okay, now
if your baba
is for next week.
If your baba says to come and cut your hair, you know, you will tell your baba, but when you come, you will not give your baba transport because he's providing a service. You know, if you go to the shop, you will not pay transport.
Yes.
Do you understand?
Honestly, let's redeem our image, please, ladies. If we are dropping the standard, raise it back up. Pay your transport, visit and come back. So it's about
Grace, but we read it. I can't.
And Grace says if your girlfriend is not asking you for money, she's asking someone else. So they share in a okay. Grace, please bring this back next week. And let's not even begin to touch that thing.
Yes, that table we are shaking.
Okay, all right.
Our time is already
it's been fun today. Thank you everyone for your active participation. And yes, we are going to go through and look at the people who contributed.
Grace is still talking. It's like Grace wants to win the giveaway for this week.
Be submissive. As in, you will not be submissive if they don't give you money, or you will not be submissive if you are taking care of yourself. Which one is that?
I said, Helen, but girls, why would you go and visit and be expecting transport fare? So there are some good girls in this house.
Kukuma don't visit. Stay at home. Let the guy.
Big him.
Yes, that's an option. And let the guy visit you. If transportation is a problem, let the guy visit you.
Because it's possible that that thing I said, their thing is Adam. It's possible she's going to provide a service. In which case, after the service has been provided, transport is required.
In which case, it's 9 o'clock.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much.
Please.
If you have further concerns, further things you want, if you want us to do part 2 of this love and money matter,
drop it.
Please
drop it in the comment section because when once we end this, the broadcast, the broadcast will have ended. But put it in the comment section
so that we know whether to bring this back next week or to move on to the next topic.
And before we close, please remember, if you have not grabbed a copy of husband material, please pick the copy. The link is there. The link will also be in the comment section when this broadcast has ended. And please, even though we are ending the broadcast, please still share to your friends. Let's get people to hear these discussions and these conversations that we are having, because we are keeping it real, and it's simple, and it's like it's common sense. It's practical, but people need to hear this, because these are real life experiences. I gave you mine. She can also give you hers. What made her stay when the water dried in the center of the ocean? What made her stay? You know, somebody said that we need more. They need part 2. So Bobby, they are saying they need part 2. So we'll work around it. Yeah, we'll pick it up next week.
And if you have questions you want us to address by force next week, feel free to
drop it in the comment section.
We'll pick them up.
And so for our giveaway, we are going to go through this. We're going to go through this through the chat, and our most active person will get a giveaway.
In addition to Debbie, who came.
Debbie already got the first giveaway for this week. The most active person will get a giveaway, and then we will drop that information in the comment section.
And we'll announce it next week.
Yes, and we'll announce it next week. And so you can let us know where to pick it up.
Remember,
thank you.
Common sense is not so common.
It's not so common, but please.
Let's come and talk about it.
Please, let's become common. Please don't, let's not be like that girl. Let's not be like that girl. Please, the thing really pain me personally. But let's round up. Common sense is not so common.
Bye. Next week.